All right, well, we just saw Fading Gigolo, the new John Turturro movie with Woody Allen. The way the show works, we'll quickly tell you whether we like the show or not, kind of who we think might enjoy it. And then if it sounds like something you want to go watch, you can stop the video and go see it. Otherwise, you can stay with us and we'll get into more detail about specific parts of the plot and potentially spoiler kind of material. So I like this movie. It was good. There's a big difference, though, between what this movie is and what the trailer tries to make it out to be. Everything that they show in the trailer happens in the movie, and it does have that kind of a feel to it, where it's just sort of this outrageous comedy, and it's funny watching, Woody Allen being a pimp for John Turturro as a gigolo. But what the movie is really about is that's just sort of a frame for him meeting a bunch of women, and where I expected it to be, maybe there's a couple of women that just want some companionship and just want some human contact kind of thing. They really focus on one relationship in particular that he gets really invested in, really involved in, and it kind of delves into the Jewish faith and how widows in the Jewish faith are, they don't necessarily get to live their lives the way they might want to, and so that's kind of the central story, I would say, of the movie, which I didn't expect, but I was happy to see. It just wasn't quite as funny throughout as I expected.
Yeah, I really liked it, actually. And I think the title of the film leads you to think that the movie is about sex. And that's not what it's about at all. I think it's about sort of human needs, and I think probably about intimacy. Like what intimacy really means to people. And how we, I think as a society, use sex as a placeholder for intimacy, and how that's really not very accurate.
Yeah. So yeah, without getting too far into it, I mean, I think it's a decent movie and it's worth seeing. I think just go in, make sure that you know that it's not. It's lighthearted. It's certainly not really tense or dramatic or anything like that. Overall, it has a very light tone, but it's not a raunchy, comedy.
You do get to see Sofia Vergara in lingerie.
Well, I mean, and that's in the trailer. Right. So I mean that's not, it doesn't go a whole lot further with that kind of stuff than what you see in the trailer. So that's the basic version. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, please go and check it out. So yeah, what I really took from this was, one of the things that I remember about being single, or going for a long stretch of time without having a girlfriend, or just human contact in general. You have these situations where like I would go and get a haircut, and there was something nice about having a woman play with my hair for half an hour, and it wasn't a sexual thing. It wasn't.
No.
But it was just a nice sort of human contact sort of thing. And so what happens in this movie is Woody Allen basically decides to set John Turturro up with Sharon Stone, and Sharon Stone is sort of acting out against her husband, who she's not happy with. She wants to sleep with John Turturro. She also wants to have a three-way with Sofia Vergara. And so that's kind of how things get started with John Turturro's character, and Woody Allen's like really bad at finding people. But what he ends up doing is he finds there's this widow of a Jewish...
yeah, and that was probably my only question in the story. Like, why he decided that she was a good choice.
I think that I don't think that he intended for that to lead to sex. Like, I think that's where the movie sort of steers you wrong, in the advertising and in sort of the whole rest of what's happened up to that point, is that, you know, for her to leave the community is a big enough thing, and for him to like touch her and talk to her and just have that basic level of contact. I mean, he basically gives her like a really brief back massage and spends like a half hour or an hour with her, and then she comes back and talks to him some more, and he takes off her wig because she's not allowed to show her real hair in public. And sort of, I mean, they're breaking the rules of what she's allowed to do with her religion, but they're not going, you know, they're not having just casual sex, and they're not having an intimate sexual relationship. They're just having
right. So, but I mean, I think kind of going back to her community, they are physically intimate. Right. And I think that same scene, they're also emotionally intimate. Yeah. You know, I mean, she cries in front of him. I'm guessing that's even in our culture, I think that's...
And he becomes close enough to her that when he does get into he actually later ends up with both Sharon Stone and Sofia Vergara, and he can't go through with it because he's thinking about the other woman, the woman that he's had more of a conversation with and more of a connection with. So yeah, it's I'm not trying to say I don't like it, and I'm not trying to say it's a letdown or anything like that. It's just it's not the movie I expected it to be. I expected it to be lots of, you know, sort of zany antics kind of stuff, which they get into a little bit of that with Sharon Stone, but not
she's
so
kind of
much.
campy.
Yeah,
but yeah,
she's kind of over the top, and it's also just, you get this sort of sense that, you know, John Turturro wrote this role for himself, and of course he's the gigolo for no reason, and of course Woody Allen's a pimp for no reason, and
it works though.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's a fun little movie. I did feel like it dragged a little bit. Like it needed more music or something to keep it going. There were a lot of sort of monosyllabic conversations.
I would have, just thinking about it, I mean, there's a pretty dramatic scene where they pull Woody Allen in front of the elders of the church. I would have been interested to see sort of the female side of the community and how they dealt, you know, like how they dealt with her.
I mean, in that, yeah. And I don't know that that's really... I think it was pretty realistic that...
maybe.
I mean, the men are in charge in that
I guess that's true.
community, and... you know, she talks about how, like, she's not supposed to read. I mean, like, it's not, like...
Well, but I think even just some background about, like, was she, like, is this out of character for her? Like, did she always follow the rules? Or, you know, there was a little hint of, yeah, she read, and yeah, she did things that...
Oh, what I got from it was that she married into the faith, that she wasn't always like, I see.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Like an Orthodox Jew. That she was, I mean, I think she was probably either Jewish growing up or close to it or something like that. But
that makes more sense.
She said she was married for 18 years, and she said that she had to get rid of her books when she got married. And I think that's what it was that she was... she wasn't born into the community, so there was some history of her doing things outside of that.
That makes
was
more
different
sense.
than that. But it's a funny premise. It works really well. The movie has a lot of heart. John Turturro wrote it and directed it, and he's very good in it. Sharon Stone and Sofia Vergara are not in a whole lot of it. They have a couple of scenes, and but they're fun in the parts that they're in. That it's a good time, and it's not a from that side of things, like it's not like an offensively raunchy sex comedy sort of thing. There's like some very brief nudity in it, but it's nothing huge. It's just sort of it's not something the camera even lingers on. It's just there's kind of a montage of him with a couple of different women. So anyway, that's the movie, Fading Gigolo, and we enjoyed it.
Yeah, so. I think it'd make a good date movie.
Yeah, I agree. So, hope you enjoyed our review. Check out the rest on DaleMaxfield.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.